fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Fuel, the podcast for fixing underperformance and evolving leadership within the automotive industry. Fuel is bringing you the latest in proven strategies and techniques that can take your service department to the next level.
Welcome back to the Fuel Podcast. I'm Alex Keith, your host. Today, I've got Bill Demaree with me. And Bill, you're going to be joining me from the Tom Wood Group, correct?
Yes, sir.
All righty. And today what our topic is going to be going about is the advantages of having a mobile service. I think that's a topic you're pretty passionate about, right, Bill?
I am. It's been a topic of discussion heavily over the last couple of years, but it's something I've had a desire to get into for many, many years.
Oh, perfect. So, one of the things I like to do as far as once I bring on a guest and as we start to get into a topic, give me a little backstory. Exactly how did you get into this business?
It's interesting. Growing up, my father used to bring home these vehicles, and he would call them our training vehicles. And it could be a brake job, could be transmission, an alternator. And we would go out to the driveway. And I'm probably 13, 14 years old, and he would show us how to do these repairs. Is, well, your training today is we'll learn how to do brakes. Fast forward, I realized that was his side hustle, and he was doing side work, and we were doing the work, my brother and I. So it was a great lesson, for us to just kind of get our hands dirty on the cars. And so I've always been around the business with my father. And then when I got into high school, I was able to start at a full service gas station, something we don't have today, but it was awesome because customers would come up, the bell would go off, I'd go running out and fill up their gas tanks, check their oil, check the windshield wipers, and clean the glass and have a really good conversation with a customer at 15, 16 years old. And the owner of the service station, it had 3 service bays to it. He grabbed me one day and said, "Hey, we've got this opportunity." And back then they didn't have full synthetic oil. It was something brand new to the market back in the 80s. And he said, "Hey, Bill, you do a really great job with our customers. If you can sell one of these full synthetic oil changes, I'm going to give you $10. And as a guy that used to run a paper route, $10 was a whole lot of money. So I'm like, hey, I'm in. So I started selling these full synthetic oil changes very young. And then I convinced him a little bit later and said, well, now that I'm selling them, how about you let me do them and teach me, how to do the oil changes in the shop and get the cars up in the air. So I slowly kind of forced my way out into the service center when I was in high school. Before I got into the auto dealer world, I've only worked for 2 auto dealer groups really my entire career. But the full service gas station, that's where it's at.
I'm going to tell you, it's been a lifelong dream of mine ever since I started watching the movies to be able to pull up to a gas station, hear a little bell go off, say, hey, fill her up. And then to be able to, fill it up, top off the fluids, things like that. I'm telling you, ever since I started watching some of those 80s movies and saw some of the guys, out there with their rag and then out there taking care of it, I was like, man, that'd be so cool to have a guy. That's your job, man, just taking care of people.
Well, it was fun.
Really interesting.
You got to, see all these different cars that, growing up, I never saw a Cadillac Eldorado with these big fancy, chrome wheels and stuff. And I get to have a conversation with a guy that actually owns it. So it was it was a lot of fun.
That's right. You're from out of town.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so this is fun. So now rolling into this mobile service business, if you don't mind, just kind of take me through the steps of what it is. And before we kind of get into how you developed it or how you became a little bit more proficient in it, like what exactly if we said, hey, we have a mobile service or we're thinking about it, what exactly is a mobile service?
I think mobile service, if you think about food delivery, you think about, I don't have time to go to the grocery store. I don't have time, nowadays you get on an app and you dispatch it and the food comes to you. And what about the oil service on your car? What about, man, and I'm in the industry and I don't have time to get my car in for an oil change, right? So if you could go onto an app and dispatch a vehicle at a time you choose to your resident or business, and the oil change is done, and you don't have to see anybody, speak to anybody, hand any credit cards over or talk about it, and complete that transaction on your phone, and you don't even know it really happened. Unless you look at the pictures that were taken to show that it happened. Why wouldn't you want to do that? We build really big, beautiful facilities. We have state-of-the-art automotive facilities in our group, and they're beautiful. They're great, but not everybody wants to come, to the dealership. So I think that crowd, I believe, is the missing link for growing our business, and the convenience of not having to worry about coming in if we can come to you. So we started looking at this heavily, right before COVID, during COVID for sure. I think that it advanced that stage, and I do believe that it's just continued to grow in our industry.
Yeah, I think that's the key word is convenience. It's probably one of the, if we started talking about it, the roadblocks or the issues advisors have when it comes to talking to customers or talking about any residual upsells as far as visits come into play. It's one of two things. They're not going to buy the service because of time. I ain't got time to do it today,
Right.
or because of money. And we can sometimes go through some analytical processes to become more perfectly priced. But sometimes it really is hard to understand. Like somebody books an oil change, maybe they only have time for the oil change. So I like exactly it's convenient. And I think, especially with some of the advances with multi-points, you got that visual multi-point inspection. If now you're sitting at work and you schedule your mobile service and bing, you get a quick little minute video of them doing a walk around of your vehicle saying, hey, listen, I know you probably need to get scheduled for a couple things that are recommended based off of mileage, but for what we're doing today, this is what we've got. So what exactly would you say if you're starting off from scratch, or if somebody's kind of on the fence about it? Hey, look, you really probably need to go with the mobile services, but here's some key services or key things you need to start up a mobile service.
Yeah, listen, I think everything's process. And if the hesitation that I had was how do you make it really convenient? And to me, picking a phone up and calling somebody is not convenient. An app system is convenient. So you have to find a way to get into a way that they can book the appointment very easily in a meeting while they're talking in an app. And if you make it difficult, they're not going to do it. We're trying to also measure the recommendation. So if they get on our app system, they make an appointment, they want a van at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we don't have a van available at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're measuring the defect of that. So if they're reached out to and says, okay, we weren't able to do it 10, how about 2 tomorrow? If they say no, I'm scoring that as a miss. So then that's going to allow me to understand the staffing, maybe assets, maybe I need another van on the specific hours that people seem to ask for, because it's different. In the car dealership world, everybody wants to be there at 7 a.m. If you look at your appointment system, it's 7 a.m. On the mobile service, you have an opportunity. It doesn't have to be at 7 a.m. It can be at 2 o'clock after their lunch. It could be in their office parking lot, in places that you're not going to hinder their schedule. You're not going to inconvenience them at all. And then you're building a trust relationship with them. So we might just be doing an oil change in the field or even a brake job. When they need something more, I'm hoping that they'll get on the app and call me, and then we can do a pickup and delivery. We can bring the vehicle into one of the dealerships and still make it convenient mobily by them not having to come to our location. So really, the app system, I think that's the key.
That's outstanding. I mean, it sounds like you've just jumped to, with the app system, they're talking about and how you're tracking it, missed calls. If we don't pick up the phone, it's the same thing as not having a time available or something we can do it. So that's a pretty big jump. I mean, I had another gentleman from Traver Connect on. His name's Bob Gowers, and we were talking in association to answering the phone. Like, it's interesting. Everybody kind of goes to work at the same time, and everybody seems to take lunch at the same time all of a sudden. So you find those shifts in the time frame. So that's really interesting that you're able to monitor that now and start adjusting off of that. Now, would you say, as far as a staffing issue, would it be just times available, or would it be incorporated not just the times, but what services you offer with the mobile service?
Yeah, the services offered, I think we're growing that. So we started out with just oil. We're doing car details, hand washes on location, those types of things. And then we saw a need for tires. Just think about how many opportunities are there online, Amazon Tire, Tire Rack. You can order tires online. So I wanted to become the number one provider for those tires if you order them, even though we own a big old tire store. I want you to come to my tire store. But if you don't and you order them online, I want to be the provider. So we've become the preferred installer mobily. And we picked up a mobile tire trailer and bought a truck to pull it. And now we can come to your driveway when you order those tires and put them on, or your place of business, et cetera. So we're constantly developing and working with Spiffy to get better and offer more. And the more is the filters and some of the other things that are really quick. It kind of has to be, in and out, quick, convenient for the guest. And then if there's something more, obviously we're going to refer you and recommend that we get it into one of our stores. But we just did a brake job. I happened to go on site to just kind of inspect what was going on, and it was just a quick, supposedly simple brake job. And it turned out the guest heard the brakes grinding for quite some time, and he didn't have time in his mind, it's brakes, to get into the dealership to get them fixed. So by the time he dispatched us as a mobile brake installer, he had already worn the pads through the rotors. The caliper had extended and locked.
Oh.
So here we are in the middle of a parking lot with a brake job that we can't finish because he drove it so long because it wasn't convenient for him to get it in. Now it ended up costing him probably 5 times the amount, because now we need calipers and rotors, and it's good to have a partnership with a local parts delivery that can come on site and say, hey, I need these and I need them here, and I'm in the middle of a parking lot. Can you bring them to me? And we're able to negotiate that out and get them to us. But that's how tough it is for people to think about and take the time to bring their vehicles in. They're just going to drive it until it absolutely disintegrates, and then they want it done. And right,
it's the next best thing to going to the dentist. Is what everybody likes to say. Most of the time. That's incredible. Yeah, it's just a safety item, just to help you stop the vehicle. Well, that's so intriguing. So you were talking about other services you're offering. So when you're talking about not services you want to promote in the mobile service, but do you try to upsell services you provide, like cabin air filter, engine air filter replacement, or something of that nature? Do they do a review? So just for example, because this is really interesting. If somebody comes on the app and says, hey, I'd like to have an oil change scheduled, then is it interpret their history and say, hey, listen, when we head out there, a couple of things we'll make you aware of before we get there. You have air filters that you're due for, possibly things that you provide on the mobile service you're due for, or do you find those things out there as part of like a multi-point inspection while you're on site?
So we actually find them there. We do not do anything ahead of time. However, our van will be stocked with what it might need.
Wow.
So we'll make sure that we have anything there that is needed. Now, what we will do is, let's say you have 2 car seats, and I don't know about you, I've seen my grandkids' car seats, and they're full of like French fries and all this other stuff that's kind of caked in there.
Absolutely.
So we offer a service that, and we'll take the pictures, and we do, it's all done on the app, and it will send you a notification text that says, hey, we're outside, we're detailing your vehicle, and we noticed there's French fries and food inside your car seat. For this fee, we could pull those seats and steam clean them and get them all cleaned up for you and get them back in your vehicle. Would you be interested? And then it's a thumbs up, thumbs down. Yes, we want it. Most people do. Like, wow, I didn't know I could do that. I don't want to mess with that. So there are some upsell opportunities, but it's again, that convenience thing of, your dog's been living in this thing. It's, this $69, car was just not going to be what you have expected. Here's an offer. I would recommend we do this, and that will take care of the system. Same with a decon if it's been smoked in or something like that. We have everything on that van to take care of your vehicle on spot.
That's impressive. Yeah. Hey, you got an ecosystem growing in here. You want us to take care of it? Sure.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's outstanding. So, we talked about kind of what a mobile service is, kind of, how you're going to get started with it and things like that. Now, what do you project this going? I just kind of, if we look at the back end of where you're at now, like, and with the success you've had with it right now, like, where do you see this evolving? Where you kind of see it going to in your point of view?
I'm really excited about our growth. We started just about about 18 months ago with 2 vans in market. We now have 5 vans, a truck, and a trailer for tires in the spiffy model in market. And we just launched a Ford mobile van out of our Ford dealership that we're doing Ford open recalls. And we put a mobile key machine in there for those that lose keys and key fobs, that we can come to you and take care of your key situation. So between the really 6 vehicles I have in spiffy, 1 in Ford, my pro forma is to get to 10 vehicles in the spiffy and add another Ford by the end of the year.
That's outstanding. That's impressive. Congratulations. I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, it's been a little, it's not easy, and it is painful, and there's growing pains as you go through it. But if you can just remember, the outcome is customer convenience, and understanding and believe in the customer convenience of what it's going to offer, you can scale it, and you can scale it in a way that is not going to hinder. If you're a brick and mortar dealership, you're not going to hinder that business. We're setting record months in our dealerships, and we have mobile service. So all it does is it takes that guest that's going to go somewhere else because they don't want to come in and have our awesome coffee. They want somebody to come to them. And it's going to scale the business.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Well, Bill, I can't thank you so much for coming on and spending your time with us on the Fuel Podcast today. I'm absolutely ecstatic about you talking about your mobile business. I think I'm as passionate about it now as you are by asking some of the questions. So, every time I offer, up at the end of the podcast, any closing remarks, anything you kind of want to leave us with?
I would say if you're trying to get into this space, research, definitely do your research on it, and don't be afraid to just try it. Don't be afraid. 20 plus years ago, I put a little compressor and some stuff in the back of a cargo van and started mobile service at an old Dodge dealership. Don't be afraid to start it, but understand it could get addicting, and you could grow your business substantially.
Case in point, right? All righty, brother. So thank you so much again. Like I said, we kind of addressed, what a mobile service is, kind of what the benefits of doing it, how to kind of get that up off the ground. And I think the key word we keep playing off of here is convenience, and being able to penetrate that market a little bit more for customers' convenience, and then maybe that you do such a good job, they start making more visits to the dealership and in handling your customers already.
That's right.
So let's go wrap it up this time on the Fuel Podcast. Bill, I want to thank you so much for coming in again, and then hopefully you'll be able to come back on, right?
Sounds great.
All righty, brother.